Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we're going to go over how to write text onto a file. So we're going to need to import three things here. Okay, the first thing is the file class. The next thing is called the file writer class. Okay, and then the third thing is called the IO exception class. Okay, just like that. So we're going to need those three things. All right, the reason they're showing up gray is because we're not yet using them, but we will in just a second. All right, so I'm going to create a couple of variables here. The first one that we need is of type string, and we'll call it file path, okay? And this is where we're going to write the text to, okay? So let's say that I want to write to a file here on my desktop. Now you'll see that my desktop is completely empty. So we're just going to get the path from up here, okay? Now make sure it starts from your root drive. So in my case, it's C. Like 90% of the time, it's C, right? So C users, programming peanut desktop. And then we'll go ahead and actually use the double slash. Okay, the reason the double slash is showing up is because Java treats these as escape characters, and well, we'll go over it in another video, but just know that here when we're specifying paths, we actually have to use the double slash, okay, not just a single slash. All right, so here we need to specify the file. Okay, so we're going to write the text onto a file called special message.txt, just like that. Okay, now the cool thing about this is that if the file does not exist, it'll create the file for us. Okay, if the file's already there, then it'll just simply write to that file. Okay, all right, so the next thing is we need to create another variable. Okay, and then this one we're just going to call it message, and this is going to be the message that we want to write onto the text file. Okay. Um, just you could type in whatever you want, okay? Just gonna put a really cool message on here, so something like that. All right, so that's gonna be our message. All right, so the next thing is we need to go ahead and create a file object, okay? So remember, here we imported file, so we'll create a file object, okay? And here in the parameters, we're going to provide the file path, okay? So basically it grabs the file path and then it creates the file in that location, okay? All right, so the next thing is we'll go ahead and use the file writer, okay? Well, we need to create a file writer class, okay? Or I'm sorry, we need to create a file writer object. So create the file writer object, just like that, okay? And then here, it's going to take in the file, okay? So here I created the file object, and then here the file writer, and it's going to use that file just like that. Okay. All right. So the next thing is we want to write onto that file writer. Okay. So like this, and then we basically use the write method from the file writer, and we're going to provide the message. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Now I know it's giving us errors, but just bear with me for a second. So we'll use the file writer and then we'll finally close the file writer. Now you're probably asking, well, how was I supposed to know if I'm supposed to close the file writer or not? Well, that's why we're watching this tutorial, right? So this is just the way it is. You have to sort of use the file writer and then close it here at the end. So if we hover over it, you'll see that it'll start asking for some sort of exception handling, okay? Now there's two things that you can do. You can wrap this whole thing around a try and catch, meaning it should try this, and if it throws an exception, then you can specify what you want it to do. Or we could just take the easy way out and just like click here where it says add exception to method signature, okay? So it lets it know that it can throw an IO exception, okay? And that gets rid of the errors on there. But I would say just try try and catch block if you're already familiar with exception handling, although I'll make a video on that shortly. All right, so if we go back to our desktop, you'll see that there's nothing there. If we go ahead and run it, okay, it runs, and then you'll see that it created the new file called special message, just like we specified there. If we go ahead and open it, it shows up our cool new text on there. All right, so that's all for this video. Hope you guys learned something. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.